Welcome. Let's dive deep into attachment styles today. So, today we're going to be talking about why you keep attracting the same kinds of relationships. Why one person doesn't text you back and suddenly you're convinced that they're losing interest. Or why someone says they want love, but the moment someone gets too close, they pull away. Maybe you found yourself thinking, why do I keep doing this? Why do I react this way? What is wrong with me? Well, what if I told you there's probably nothing wrong with you? Your nervous system is simply doing exactly what it was trained to do and learned to do. And here's what most people don't realize: your attachment style doesn't just affect your romantic relationships, it influences your friendships, your parenting, your relationship with money, your career, your confidence. So, even relationships like your relationship with yourself. Today, I'm going to explain the four attachment styles. I'm going to share a little bit of my own journey as a fearful avoidant who has earned secure attachment, and I'll show you why the attachment styles they are not permanent. Because secure attachment isn't something that you're born with, but it's something that you can build. So, before we jump into the four attachment styles, let's clear up one of the biggest misconceptions. Attachment isn't your personality, it isn't your identity, it isn't a diagnosis. Your attachment is your nervous system's blueprint for relationships. Long before you had words, your brain and your body were asking questions like, is it safe to trust people? Is it safe to need people? Can I trust love? Will someone be there when I need them? And your body answered those questions before your mind ever could. Those answers became patterns, not because you were broken, but because your nervous system adapted in order to survive. So let's begin with where we're all trying to go. And most people often think that secure attachment means you never get triggered, but that is not true. Secure attachment, secure people still experience conflict. They still feel hurt. They still have fears. The difference is they know how to return to safety. They trust themselves. They communicate honestly and they ask for what they need. They also set healthy boundaries. They understand something incredibly important. Healthy relationships aren't built by avoiding conflict, they're built through repair. Now, anxious attachment often develops when love felt really inconsistent. So sometimes the caregivers were emotionally available, sometimes they weren't. And your nervous system learned that connection could disappear without warning. So as an adult, you may overthink texts, you may need reassurance, you may fear abandonment, people pleasing, losing yourself in order to keep a relationship together. People with anxious attachment, they often feel like they're too much. I don't see it that way, but I think their nervous system is searching for consistency because it never fully experienced it. Then we have the avoidant attachment styles. There's dismissive avoidant and fearful avoidant. I think the dismissive avoidant attachment is probably the most misunderstood attachment because people often assume that dismissive avoidants don't care. In my experience, many care very deeply. They simply learned that depending upon other people wasn't safe. So maybe their emotions weren't welcomed, maybe independence was rewarded, maybe they had to become an adult far too soon. So the nervous system created one simple rule: if I don't need anyone, I can't be hurt. And as adults, they often need a lot of space. They withdraw during conflict. They feel overwhelmed by emotional intensity. They struggle asking for help. They keep people at arm's length. And, the closer that someone gets, the louder the nervous system says, protect yourself, not because they don't love, but because it feels dangerous. Vulnerability feels dangerous. The fearful avoidant, this is deeply personal for me. The fearful avoidant attachment often develops when love and fear become intertwined. So the people who were supposed to create safety also became a source of unpredictability, of fear, of pain. and your nervous system learns that, two completely opposite beliefs, like I desperately want connection and connection isn't safe. And it's a very difficult attachment style um, to live with. And I can say that personally. I have earned a secure attachment, but it took a lot of work, inner work to get there. Because imagine driving a car with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. That's the fearful avoidant attachment. You crave intimacy, but then when someone gets too close, your nervous system panics and you fear abandonment. Um, you fear vulnerability. One day you're all in, the next day you're questioning the relationship. One part of you wants to stay, the other part is like, run. So people often think that fearful avoidants are crazy, and they're not. They're carrying two competing survival strategies inside the same nervous system. For years, this was me. Like I said, I survived childhood trauma, addiction, coercive control, adult life trauma, trauma bonding, autonomic nervous system collapse. And, of course, my nervous system was activated. It had learned survival. And for a long time, I believed that healing meant I'd eventually stop getting triggered. But I thought one day I'd, magically become secure, but that's not how healing works. So through years of trauma work, energy healing, somatic healing, nervous system regulation, attachment work, I've learned to create a safe space, to become a safe space for myself. And something shifted. And so today I consider myself someone with an earned secure attachment, but I want to be really honest. I still get activated. The old neural pathways, they still light up. Certain situations can still trigger old protective responses. The difference is I recognize what's happening, and instead of reacting, I pause, I breathe, I regulate myself. I ask myself, hey, is this my past talking or is this what's actually happening today? And that's earned attachment, not perfection, not ever, not never getting triggered, but having the awareness and the tools to return to safety.